My name is Brad Muniz. I'm a partner at Sobel and Company, and I'd like to welcome you to Sobel Insights. Sobel Insights is a weekly series. We provide some brief information on various topics. Our goal is to keep these sessions to 15 minutes. At this point, we don't offer CPE. If you have any ideas for topics or speakers, please feel free to reach out to me. Our topic today is SEO, and our speaker today is I knew I was going to mess up, Joe Vanoli. Giovanoli.
That's all right. Like I said, that's not the worst. That's not the worst I've ever heard.
So Colleen's going to put it, or Andrew's going to put it up there, how to spell it and everything. Joe Giovanoli with 9 sale. That's the most important thing, that you were 9 sale, and people should be reaching out to you, because I will tell you that I know what PEOs are, professional employer organizations, and I know some people watching this watch The Matrix and they know who Neo is, but what are SEOs?
Yes. So SEO is search engine optimization. It is, the practice of helping a website to rank higher on Google by following what we would consider Google's best practices, and making sure that the website meets the standards that Google is looking for in order to move you up in their search engine.
And so but you're tracking it and you're providing it to Google, or are they searching it, and they're maintaining their own statistics?
Yeah, so great question. So I think the tracking of results and the actual act of optimizing are two different things, right? So what we do is we help companies to optimize their websites, so that way Google's algorithm can then test and measure traffic and test keywords for very specific pages on a website. What we're doing is we are taking, let's just say, for instance, your Sobel's website, and let's just use very basic accounting firm, right? So if you're looking to be a small business accounting firm, right, and again using that as our example, a small business accounting firm will have a small business page, a page geared towards small businesses, and the content will speak to a business owner of a small business. Well, it's our job to make sure that page is optimized, meaning that it has the use of proper keywords. And then what we'll do is we'll go out and we'll get some backlinks to it, from Inc.com, Forbes, whatever it is, to point back to that page to say this is a good source of information. And that's in very basic terms, that's what search engine optimization is.
So that then leads into my next question. Perfect. I'm a knucklehead, and most accountants think, okay, yeah, we can do it all ourselves. We're not like a Governor Murphy knucklehead. We're just think that we could probably do it. We could probably do this. We could figure out how to design our website. I know how to design a website. And I bet it's not the best use of my time trying to SEO my own website, because I'm going to think I know the cool words because I know my industry. But I bet you're going to tell me you had the best use of my time to SEO my website.
Yeah. So, absolutely. So first and foremost, you as an expert in your industry, your knowledge is very important to what we do, right? So first thing we do with our clients is we gather a brain dump from them. We ask them a lot of questions. When a client asks for this, what word do they use, or what words will they use? Your feedback is really important. But, if you're going to spend time SEOing your website, and maybe you're working with a company, maybe you're not. But you personally, your best use of your time is to create content and improve your content. And what that means is, I'm talking written content specifically. Videos are great. Podcasts are awesome. Like, all of those things contribute to other marketing channels. But really, at the end of the day, your written content is what Google is primarily crawling to, place you on their search engine. So, maybe you have a page on your website, again, small business accounting. Let's just use that as our example, small business accounting. And maybe you're not getting leads from it. Maybe you're not even tracking that, but the page isn't performing. You may want to go back in and spruce it up, maybe add a couple of paragraphs to it, maybe change a couple of things. or, write about a recent topic of, something that the government passed in New Jersey about, small business tax law, something like that, something that's going to be of interest to the people that are reading about that topic. That's where your time can be best spent. If you're working with an SEO company, we provide a lot of those topics to our clients. We also give them some examples of things that they should be reviewing, paid other websites that they should be looking at before they write their piece of content, the specific keywords that they should be using and how many times they should be using it. We kind of end to end help our clients with that. But if you're going to do something to help your own SEO on your website, you really should be spending it writing content.
That's interesting. So I really appreciate that, because we think that sometimes some of us think we're the jack of all trades, and I'm happy to have gone away. I used to actually build computers. We go to computer shows with my uncle and we put them together, and I'm happy I'm not doing that stuff anymore, because it has grown from me buying the motherboard and assembling the body to this whole area that I'm clearly a fish out of water. So the water has gone someplace else completely, and I'm just sitting there flopping. So the problem that I see with society, amongst many other things, is everybody has an Amazon mindset, and everybody thinks, I paid for Prime, so how come I'm not getting immediate delivery type of thing? And it's like, okay, but it still took the same amount of time. But I'm sure a lot of people expect to engage you, and they say, okay, so all right, so we put it up. How I should see results, in 15 minutes? Especially Google, there's a bad thing about Google is they say how long it took to get all these results. They're like, okay, should I have my results now? How long does it take to see results from? Now, I want to make sure everybody understands SEO, search engine optimization, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So there's a difference between, I'm glad you made that distinction. So there's a difference between SEO and SEM, right? So not to throw more acronyms at you, right? But search engine marketing is typically references paid search, right? So when you Google something, where at the top there's 3 results that say ad next to them. That means people are bidding and they're paying money to be there, right? And they're not paying money to show up. They're paying money when somebody clicks on them. Right. So that's a whole nother, I'm not going to even confuse this right now with that, but that's a whole nother area of what we do, which is on the paid side of it. And it's a lot more bid focused and creating certain ads, very much on us, a lot less on the client who, we're working with. But, to answer your question, how long does it take? A good SEO should always tell you it's going to take 6 to 9 months at a bare bones minimum for you to see results. Reason being, and simple, right? If you've been optimizing your website with an SEO for a while and you've been getting decent results and you're just changing vendors, you'll probably see you'll see upticks and you'll see, quick shifts within 2 to 3 months. But most people that are just dipping their toe in the water, or they're completely overhauling their SEO presence, it'll take time, right? So Google changes their algorithm daily. They make thousands of changes to their algorithm a year. They typically do 4 to 6 core updates to the core algorithm, meaning that there's been something major that they've integrated into their process or changed about their process, which, that plays a role and plays a factor, because sometimes they'll make a change that is kind of counter to something they've done in the past. And, as SEOs, we have to kind of change course and make some changes to things that we've done. So 6 to 9 months is the standard. And that's what, if anybody's telling you less, they're not setting proper expectations. However, that doesn't mean that you're not going to see any results for 6 to 9 months. We've had clients report that in the first 2 to 3 months, hey, I got a really great lead off of off of our website, or, we see really nice increases in traffic. We start to see a little bit of a hockey stick over the first 2, 3, 4 months. And that's normal, because Google is essentially recognizing there's activity on the site when they keep crawling in and they see things are changing. So they're going to start testing keywords, and they're going to start testing, do you answer this question well? How do people engage with your website? And that's the fun stuff. That's the stuff that we monitor and the stuff that we really sink our teeth into. Because the reality is the biggest thing that I hear from people is, oh, well, so-and-so has been on the number 1 spot for the last 3 years. There's no way we're going to unseat them. And the reality is that's not true. It is very simple. It's very simple to you start to rank, and with some time and effort and energy, you can certainly, kind of unseat the top dog.
And I mean, is there a way for me personally to track my results, or is it, or
Yes.
are we doing this in tandem type of thing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You certainly can, but if you have an SEO, they should be doing it for you, right?
Okay.
So Google Analytics is a free platform that every website typically has hooked up to. And if you don't have Google Analytics, you certainly should. Sobel does. And Google Search Console. Search Console is really cool. And I don't want to confuse people with all of these names, but Search Console is another free platform that gets hooked up to the website. But you can actually see what keywords you're ranking for. You can actually see how many times people have seen you in a result for a specific keyword over a set period of time. You can see how many people have clicked on you from that keyword over a set period of time. Google makes it easy to do that if you're interested in it and you're focused on it, right? But if you're not, right, and I find that most companies don't typically spend the time to look through this data. And, they're just saying, oh yeah, somebody called and they said they could find us on Google. That's great. But you may be getting those phone calls because somebody Googled your firm's name or one of your accountant's names. Right. And it's good to know these things. And you can uncover a lot of this through the free tools that Google provides. You just need to know how to use them and what to look for.
Interesting. So a lot of times we'll have financial people viewing these presentations, and I'm saying to the financial people right now, make sure you have your marketing and other people looking at this, okay? Because the financial people will look at this like, oh, it's going to cost us money, but this is important stuff. This is a new world we're in, the way people are marketing and getting themselves out there. It's funny, you mentioned the top area of the first three that come up. It's like the dummy area for me. It's like they get me all the time. Okay, I'm one of the guys that's sitting there going, "Oh, it came up first click." It's like, this is not what I was looking for. It just happened to me last night. So it's interesting. You keep using one word, and I won't ask you your age. I'll say mine. I'm 55 years old, and I really appreciate the fact that I've seen Prodigy to AOL, Yahoo came out. Ask Jeeves I used.
Yeah.
But the only thing we're referring to is Google. This is a real stretch, and I'm asking you to go like this. Do you think that it will always be Google for quite a while, or is there going to be somebody to come out and kind of be the next that you as a SEO person has to say, okay, now I have to monitor their algorithms too?
Wow,
and by the way, people,
$1 million question.
This is pure speculation on his part.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Don't go to the track on this.
I always preface when I get asked this question with that. So I'm glad you did it. And I am also going to preface that I don't have an insight into it, but I have some thoughts. So two things. First, you're in the 40% of people that click in ads. It's typically a 60-40 split, organic to. So what we're talking about, SEO handles organic search, right? So it's the stuff that Google decides. The paid search is up at the top. That's the stuff. So there's, people, some websites will say that it's 30% of people click on those. Some people say it's 40% of people, but you're in that realm. So you're not alone. Okay. So the question is, is it always going to be Google? I don't think so. I think that what you asked is for the foreseeable future, probably, unless Google does something that gets them in trouble. I don't, and that's always possible, but I don't think so. There are some search engines that are coming out, and that have come out, that are not aiming. Search engines a lot of these companies aren't aiming to take the lion's share away from Google. They're looking to get a taste, right? So Google's, 80 or 90% of traffic goes through Google right now. It fluctuates, but it's right around there. And, there are sites that are looking to be very niche focused, right? So, I'm using this as an example. This is not a real example, but, they want to be the search engine for accounting firms. right? And you know, there's a small number of those folks that would fit that category, but it's super targeted, right? So a lot of these search engines are more focused on it. Well, if we can get a very niche audience, we can then monetize that and you know, make our money and do whatever and be a really good resource for those folks. But a lot of companies, at least from what I've seen, they're not aiming to dethrone Google, right? Because it's really the only site out there right now that might be able to do that is Bing, and they're nowhere near, right? Bing is the audience, and this is 100% true and has nothing to do with age. Bing is known as the 55 plus search engine. Want to know why?
Why?
Because when you go and you buy a laptop or you buy a PC, Bing is what the primary search engine is on it, right? So nobody knows. They think they're Googling. They go in, unless they type google.com, they go into the search bar and they type in words, they hit enter, and Bing pops up, right? So that is, and there's a huge place in the market for that. You know, there are a lot of, think about it, right? And I tell my law firms all the time, especially in the estate and the elder space, you want to be advertising, you want to be talking to Bing. Bing is essentially basing their algorithm off of what Google's doing anyway. At least from the front end, that's what we see. But you know, their dollars are probably better spent on Bing, because, or at least most of their budget should be spent there, because that's the market that's hiring them for mom and dad are having an issue. We need to get a will, our will worked on, whatever the situation is. You know, there's a time and place for that search engine. Does that make sense? Right. So there's different demographics.
That's absolutely excellent information. And because listen, I know how technically savvy I am, and I'm not. And compared to my wife, and she would just plug and play. That's all she wants. And
Right.
What's going to come up? You know, I knew what to set as my default search engine. But she would just plug and play and move on. I'm not saying how old my wife is, so don't even try and speculate there, people.
Well, so, you know, I can give you two examples. My grandfather is in his, you know, almost mid 80s, and he's still, by the way, still a practicing accountant. He has his own book of clients that he's been working with for 30 years, and God bless him, he loves it. But you know, we bought him a new laptop recently, and a couple of years ago. That was a nice, fun project. But you know, first thing he did is he went online and he just started typing stuff in. And I said to him, I call him Pop Up, and I said, Pop Up, you know that's you know, you're not Googling anything, right? He goes, yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. See, watch, I'm doing it. And it resonated with me right then and there. I'm like, see, people that just bought plug and play, it makes sense, right? That's the market that Bing is specifically speaking to. So anyway, so to answer your question directly, I think in the foreseeable future, Google's going to be the player. But I wouldn't be surprised, and nobody should be surprised, if other search engines start being talked about a little bit more, probably in the next, let's say, 3 to 10 years.
Yep. I appreciate that. And I appreciate everything you said. This is great information. You know, I learned a lot from this. I've heard SEO, Chris Martin, who I know you know, has been talking about SEO about this, and I know he works with you. So my recommendation to everybody is please reach out to Joe, find out more about him, his company, and what they could do for you. We're in a new world, especially for us 55-year-old people, in a new world of getting out to your potential clients and customers. And you need somebody like this. So Joe, thank you very much. And thank you very much, everybody, for viewing the presentation.
Thank you.